Greetings, my dear truth seekers. The fact that high-ranking Western military officers are directly involved in the Ukrainian conflict is no secret to anyone. Just look at the numerous videos that appear on the web with regular frequency. In these videos, the English speech is clearly audible, indicating that all attacks by the armed forces of Ukraine are planned and carried out exclusively by high-ranking Western officers from NATO countries. The fact that the United States and its satellites declare that they are avoiding a direct clash with Russia in every possible way does not stop them from continuing to send Western weapons and military personnel to Ukraine, including NATO senior officers. So, a few days ago, the American media reported one very interesting and at the same time strange news. In particular, they said that the U.S. armed forces were faced with a terrible tragedy. According to them, U.S. Army Major General Anthony Potts died on July 25, 2023. The American media, including the New York Times, claimed that the American general died as a result of the crash of the aircraft, Piper PA-28 Cherokee, which he personally operated. It is reported that the U.S. Army general was alone in the aircraft and died as a result of a bird hitting the free piston engine, which caused a crash of the plane. That plane crash allegedly occurred near the city of Havre de Grace, in Maryland. It is noteworthy that the day before this incident, the Russian army launched targeted missile strikes on decision-making centers and bunkers in Ukraine. Military expert and head of the Center for the Study of Military Conflicts, Andrei Klinsevich, said that the U.S. Army general was killed as a result of a targeted missile strike by the Russian army. Undoubtedly, the Russians knew perfectly well where to strike. Russian military intelligence is improving every day, and they know perfectly well where and how many Western generals are in Ukraine, Andrei Klinsevich said. The expert drew attention to the fact that this is not the first time when U.S. Army general was liquidated in Ukraine. According to him, a strange pattern has emerged over the past 8 months. As soon as the Russians launch a targeted missile strike on a certain part of Ukraine, the next day, the Western media begins to report on the death of high-ranking American military personnel as a result of a plane or helicopter crash at some military drills in the United States. All this is done in order not to cause a negative reaction in the society of Western countries. Moreover, all these U.S. Army generals and high-ranking officers of NATO countries are in Ukraine on secret missions and lead the Ukrainian army while remaining in the shadows. On Thursday last week, a similar case also occurred in Australia. So, the Australian Ministry of Defence reported that as a result of the crash of the helicopter MH-90 Taipan in the northeast of the country, 4 officers of the Australian Army were killed. It is worth noting that the day before this incident, the Russian army launched another targeted missile attack on the western part of Ukraine. As for the death of U.S. Army Major General Anthony Potts, this is undoubtedly a tangible loss for the U.S. Armed Forces. Anthony Potts was not only one of the experienced military officers of the U.S. Army, but he also personally planned almost all military operations of the US Army, including such as Desert Storm and Desert Shield in Iraq in the early 90s of the last century.